What is happening, everybody? So, the man, the myth, the legend, Kawhi Anthony Leonard has once returned. And boy, it was a beautiful game, all right? It was a beautiful game. We played against Dame Time and Anthony Simons and their newly acquired Jeremy Grant, and it was a pretty good game throughout the whole entire game. First half, we just took control. Third quarter, Portland they just like kind of caught up to us a bit, and they took some leads. And then fourth quarter, it was just the Clippers just essentially sealed the game, but it was a pretty close game. It was a single digit lead. Um, Nevertheless, it was pretty entertaining to watch, but man, it's beautiful. It is beautiful to see the man return. But first, let's go player by player. So first, I'm gonna just talk about the Blazers player to just get some things over with. So first, Damian Lillard. He returned. He didn't do too bad. I thought he was fairly solid. He did miss a decent amount of shots, but it's part of being a scorer. Um, he definitely attempted a long bomb. It just wasn't fun, but I guess it's preseason and all that. But we always find ways to play pretty good defense on Dame. But you know, like glad to see Dame back because he was hurt for a while. So um, it's like it would like a player would just normally be rusty if you're out for like this for a very long time. But you know what? Nevertheless, it's good to see everyone healthy again. And nice player, Anthony Simons. He had a quiet night. He didn't really. He was missing a lot of shots. Uh, um, Jeremy Grant. Jeremy Grant. He was. He's shown that he was a pretty solid acquisition. He actually made some solid defensive plays, and he definitely hit some timely threes. Like he's honestly a younger version of Robert Covington. So in a way, like Jeremy Grant is a like basically a youthful Covington because they're both like kind of like the same size. They both fit the same prototype, the 3-and-D type defenders, and they could guard like one of four positions, like maybe five if the big is very very like on the smaller side, but mainly one of four. But like you know, Blazers are trying to just find a piece to pair with Damian Lillard and Grant. He is pretty solid, but will it be good enough to make Dame happy? But Dame is essentially just staying loyal, so respects to him. But Grant, always mess with him back when he was with the Nuggets, Pistons, and now the good old Portland Trailblazers. Joseph Nurkic. Nurkic, he was he was nothing really too special. He was 55% from the field goal. Um, One thing that I noticed is Zubac defense improved by a significant amount, and if it was last year, Nurkic would have made some threes, but he was missing a decent amount of shots. So you know, pretty pretty good by the homie Ivica Zubac. Now let's get to the bench. First, let's talk about Keon Johnson. Keon Johnson, like when the trade first happened, when it was for Norman Powell and Robert Covington, like I was one of the first few who said that we did not completely fleece the Portland Trailblazers. Like I said, like the trade is more fair than it actually looks because Keon Johnson, he's gonna be a pretty really good defensive guard. within the coming years. Like he's definitely going to be in the league for at least like at minimal, let's just say like 8 years, because how good of a defender he is and how athletic he is. Like he even have some charges. He even had a charge against Amir Coffey, like when he just drove down the lane and he got an and one on Amir, and basically like he's a pretty good defender, and he also won the Summer League MVP, I believe. So big shout out to him. Justice Winslow, he got one lockdown possession on Kawhi, but he didn't do anything other like extremely significant. But a decent 3 and D type. Well, I wouldn't say 3 and D because Winslow's not really like a shooter or whatever you want to call it, but he is a pretty solid defender in general. But didn't was not too special. Let's see. Who else could I cover? Um, Greg Brown, the second or third. I think the third. He's a pretty athletic type forward, and he definitely got some possessions on defense. I didn't keep track. Did he really score? I'm sure he did, but another solid power forward for the Blazers for the upcoming years. But now, with that being said, let's get to the beautiful Los Angeles Clippers. First of all, Kawhi. Kawhi, he's still looking like himself. Kawhi, he hit the first three. It was beautiful. It was smooth. He was obviously going like easy. Don't wanna aggravate them injuries. Um, Definitely had some moments when he was pretty darn strong, just backing down low. He just did it all. Kawhi. Like Kawhi, I feel he's one of the most underrated, like like all time greats in my opinion. Like I feel like this is why I usually would say personally I would put Kawhi over everybody else except for Michael Jordan, just because how good of a two-way player he is. Like he could essentially shoot the score and shoot the ball so well. He could back down opponents so well, and on defense, he is just as good as he is on offense. And it's hard to find someone who's as good of a two-way player as Kawhi Leonard, because KD he's pretty good on offense, but his defense is good, but it's nowhere near on Kawhi's level. James Harden, he's one of the best offensive players in the league, but defense is, you know, could could be in laps sometimes, or it could be off. Um, LeBron, he's a good playmaker and all that. Um, he's solid at driving in the lane. Um, but however, he did have a lot of help, and he's not as good of a two-way player compared to Kawhi Leonard, because Kawhi is just he can shoot, he can log on at the same time. Like LeBron, he's good and all, but in my opinion, I would just take Kawhi as a more complete player because how efficient Kawhi is at shooting the ball. So, like, I feel like my apologies. If you take out if you take out Zaza Pachulia and Joe Ingles and Doc Rivers, I think Kawhi would easily have like at least at minimum like 4 rings. Honestly, 5 rings, because think about it. Kawhi Leonard, he was smacking the living heck out of the Kevin Durant led Warriors, and all the haters want to just say, "Oh, KD got injured, so Kawhi, that ring does not count and shouldn't be counted on Kawhi's legacy," from all these Lakers fans slash LeBron fans, but they're acting like it was an easy team to beat, despite them crying about how KD made the team unfair or something like that. So which one is it? I don't know. But anyways, good to see Big Y back. Now, PG. PG, he's looking smooth as usual. He was just driving to the basket pretty smooth. he did have some rusty air balls and all that, but you know, it's all good. Gotta shake the rust off. But PG, smooth with it. Like, what else can I say about PG? He's just smooth. He's just smooth. He's pretty darn good. Man was playing good defense, and his playmaking starting to show again. Like, had some solid playmaking plays. You know, pretty good to see. Pretty good to see. Reggie Jackson, not gonna lie, his shots wasn't really falling until I would say the second quarter. It was finally hitting. Um, he Reggie Jackson playmaking was not at his best. Especially when he would try to feed Zubac, the pass would tend to be intercepted. But we all know what Reggie Jackson can do when he's at his peak. He's the combo guard type of guy. He could definitely be a welcome bucket, but at the same time, he could be the playmaker. But tonight, it was just not really his night. But we we'll see what happens when we face the Timberwolves. Um, let's see, Batum. Batum, he was just Nick Batum, just standing at the corner, taking some shots, playing pretty good defense as usual. Good to see him back. Ivica Zubac. Now, I'm gonna go on a little long summary about Ivica Zubac. This man, I feel he's one of the most misunderstood um, player on the team. Kind of along with Marcus Morris, but I think overall he's the most misunderstood player in my opinion because Zubac, the reason why I feel he's not as good as how some fans would want him to be is just because he doesn't really get fed the ball often. And Zubac, he was 4 for 5, which was pretty beautiful. And so essentially he's 80%, and he just was really efficient the way how he played on both sides of the end. I remember I seen some plays when Zubac he was like again, my bad, but there were some moments when he was calling for some plays to get fed. Ball just eventually essentially didn't really get on his hands, because sometimes the players would ISO, for example, Reggie Jackson or Paul George, which is all good because that's their natural ability. But when John Wall stepped on the floor, oh man, he was feeding Zubac real good, and he definitely got the nice slam. Pretty strong, sturdy, big, and let's give Zubac a big props for this. His defense. His defense from 2 years ago, from the 20 to 2021 season to the 21-22 seasons to right now, it improved significantly because before, when Zubac gets switched onto a quicker, skilled type of guard, he would be scored on more often. And last year, he controlled that. He got better. But this game, he gets switched onto Dame time. And Zubac managed to clamp that possession down. Zubac would contest the shot so good that players, they wouldn't really make it. They wouldn't really score the basket on him. That is something special. The Zubac disrespect, I believe it should stop because like last game when Moses Brown did good, people were saying Moses Brown was better than Zubac, which is, come on, man. Let's look. I'm one of the more person who is more higher on Moses Brown, but unfortunately Moses Brown did not show tonight whatsoever. But let's be real, Zubac has a hook shot. He can create shots. Moses Brown at best, he could be he's more of a lanky type body that could get rebounds. But even in this game, he didn't really get much of the rebounds. But Zubac is just If Zubac just gets put in the right positions, he could definitely be like, I would say like a top seven big in the league, just because like what he does to opponents. Like he can back you down low. His playmaking is pretty underrated too, and I like that he even attempted a mid range jumper. That is something that I would love to see. Like like that's another reason why I feel people sleep on Zubac. Like people want to go all in for Miles Turner. Like they say Miles Turner is a huge upgrade for Zubac, but the reason why I see people saying that just because Turner can shoot threes, or he attempts threes. Zubac, he just doesn't attempt three. He just plays the big man game. Same reason for Nikola Vucevic. I heard one dude said trade Kennard and I think like a first round pick for Vucevic. Like Vucevic is 32 years old and he's just like Zubac, but the difference is Vucevic shoot threes. Zubac, he just plays the game, but you know, I'm glad to see how Zubac attempted a mid range, and overall, I just feel like if you put Zubac in the right situation, he's definitely going to be a really good breakout player. And big props to Zubac too for just straight up improving on defense as well too, because like now it's less ways to criticize Zubac. Now let's get to the bench. Norman Powell, he had a really off game. He just couldn't hit any of the shots, but the misses weren't really bad. It's just it wasn't falling in. It happens. It was 9%, but like I said, it happens. It happens. Let's just pipe it down. You know, it's it's just it was just a pretty like just get the rhythm out and come and go. And but yeah, we all know what Norman Powell can really do when he's on. He's a bucket, a walking bucket. And let's see, Luke Kennard. Luke Kennard didn't really play as much of minutes, and the minutes went to more to Brandon Boston Jr. And I love to see the Brandon Boston Jr. playing time because, like, if you look at his stats, it doesn't look too pretty. But when you watch Brandon Boston Jr. play, whew, smooth, especially during crunch time. Brandon Boston Jr. hit two threes back to back, daggers, just straight up Clippers beating the Trailblazers. And, one of our future assets that we just have to keep. He's just special. Simple as that. I don't know what else to tell you. Moses Brown, I'm not gonna lie. Moses Brown last game he was pretty good, but now this game, like I know it's a small sample size, but Moses Brown was just like he was kind of like a non-factor. Like he didn't really get as much of the boards, but honestly, I felt like it wasn't really too much of his fault because the ball just went to the other player's direction, in my opinion. But some of the plays when let's just say John Wall tried to feed Moses Brown, the ball just slipped out of his hands, like kind of like how I would have the Butterfingers or Kwame Brown had to have the Butterfingers. But hopefully, next game Moses Brown will be straight, just like how he was straight like last game. But it's a small sample size, and overall, I just like how Tyronn Lue kept the rotations. Like he switched it up uh, pretty well, in my opinion. But Moses Brown, he was pretty off. I don't know if he even scored. I don't think he scored. He only got like I think one board, but he was like. But I feel like if Moses Brown gets his mobility better, like if he just moves his feet quicker, he would definitely be more of a factor rather than a non-factor. But right now, his footwork is just definitely could get his feet quicker, and like it'll be it'll definitely be a lot better if he just works on his footwork. But I mean, you know, he was pretty off this game. And John Wall. John Wall debuted. John Wall, in my opinion, I thought he did pretty well. He did have some turnovers, but it wasn't the most boneheaded turnovers. I did like his ability of him shooting threes. I feel like a lot of people were afraid that he was just going to be another Westbrook, but I think John Wall is a more he's like Westbrook minus all the bad problems. Like unlike Westbrook, Wall does not have the ego. He does not. He's not the type of guy who would be pouting if he doesn't start. But I heard the commentator said he's going to start next game, so I love to see the Wall Zubac combination because John Wall is just going to be feeding Zubac real good, and just like how he did with Marcin Gortat. Like Marcin Gortat, he's half the skill of Zubac, but he averaged 12 points per game. Imagine Wall with Zubac. I low-key predict Zubac could average like it's a bold prediction by the way. I think he could average like 16 points a game if he plays with John Wall more often because man, that John Wall pick and roll and Zubac just get a beautiful slam dunk. I just love to see Wall on the floor, man. Like he was solid all around. Just trimmed down with the turnovers. Just trying not to get too trigger happy, but you know that's all I could say. Like pretty solid debut in my opinion. Um, and Musa Diabate. Man, this video is gonna be so long just because like I'm just feeling happy. I'm just feeling happy, but I honestly need to make a separate video just dedicated to Musa Diabate because man, this dude is special. Like you just gotta love how all around he was. Like that man he grabbed like 13 boards. Like he wasn't the starting big, but 13 boards, man. That was just gorgeous. And his defense is just beyond amazing. Like he could be first guarding the bigs, and next thing you know, he gets switched on to the guard. Nothing. It's light work for him. Like when Musa Diabate was drafted, like I initially was a little disappointed that we did not take uh this kid named Yannick Nzoza, but I always like vibed with Diabate. He was one of the guys that I did suggest in my little prospect scouting, and Musa Diabate turned out to be one of them. Like if he could go back way back around I would say May and Moose, Moose, solid. He's like the perfect mold for the Los Angeles Clippers. Like a lot of people were saying stuff that let's trade this 2028 first round pick for Miles Turner, or let's trade for I don't know Vucevic, um, or whatever. Or but I'm glad we did not do any of that because man, I just love seeing Moose play on the floor. Like he's perfect for both eras. Like he's really good down low, but he's really good at defending in this fast-paced modern NBA. He's just pretty darn ideal. Like gotta love it. I just have to love it. And like I said, his floor is like a Bobby Portis, and his ceiling or his upsize is like a Pascal Siakam or a Bam Adebayo. Like it was just gorgeous to see. And so many players I'm just gonna be happy about. Like Amir Coffee. Like let's give a fat shout out to Amir Coffee too. That dude bulked the heck up. And so much that now he tried to bulldoze players and he would get some jellies and all that. And his shooting is pretty good. His shot creation went up as well too. Like that one fadeaway, that little fader. man, Amir is also a really like big improvement as well too. He improved all around. Xavier Moon, pretty solid. Like nothing too crazy about Moon, but he's like he makes more like a veteran pace type decision. Like he'll make some smart passes, smart possessions, and he would just make a quick three or like a nice little midi. But essentially, I think that's all of the players I really covered. I think Williamson he did pretty decent too. Shout out to him. But anyways, just let me know about what you think about this beautiful game. What do you think about Kawhi Leonard's return or anything about this game? Just let me know down in the comment section. And as y'all know, peace.